Hi, I'm here with Clippy, a name you might not recognise instantly, but she is the founder of a brand, Clippy's Apples. Is that correct? Did I say that right? Yeah, Clippy's Apples. Yeah. Great. Okay,
Clippy's
wonderful.
Apples.
Yeah, I win. How you doing, Clippy? You all right?
Yeah, really well.
Yeah.
It's been a weird day, as we were discussing before.
A weird day. It's been a very weird day, but a bit hot, a bit cold.
The weather's weird and just general weirdness today.
I think, so we don't compound that weirdness for our viewers, maybe we should explain why you're called Clippy, just briefly.
Yeah, as you were a bit like,
Yeah.
What's all that about? Well, my real name is Michelle McKenna.
Okay, forget that.
Just take that.
Okay.
But Clippy comes from my fascination with hair clips.
There you go.
So that's how it came about, the name.
Yeah.
And when I decided what I was going to do, my fiance was just like, Clippy's Apples, nah, that just doesn't work. And I was like, it does work because it suits me.
It does,
It
and
does.
you proved that it works because you have a lovely brand and you're doing really, really well with it.
Yeah.
How did it get started then?
Well, I started with apple trees in my back garden.
Yeah.
And I lived just in a normal house in South Manchester.
Yeah.
But I wanted to help protect British apple orchards.
Right.
And lots of things came together, and it was me going to do a PhD. 80,000 words, make food,
Yeah.
But I love apples, and I wanted to do something to protect them. So my first brownie badge was marmalade.
Was it really?
It was.
I forget what mine was.
Yeah. And my mum made everything and anything every summer, and my dad grew everything. So I've sort of grown up with preserving and food. So it's like in my genes almost.
Right. Okay.
So when I came up with this idea, I made I think it was a blackcurrant jelly or something, and I was like, God, this is really nice. Quite impressed. I'm not very good at following recipe books. I just do it. So anyway, so I was mucking around, and then I got some labels designed, and I went to a farmer's market, and it sold out. And I was like, oh,
wow,
this is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then carried on from there. So I started 4 years ago, went into lots of independents and farm shops and delis, and singing the virtues of the great British apple.
Yeah.
And then went into Harvey Nichols, then went into Fortnum and Mason.
I mean, you saying it like it just happened really easy. Surely it must have been a struggle to get into somewhere like Harvey Nichols.
Well, I remember the first order that we got, it was 500, I think it was 500 jars.
Yeah.
And I was still making it home, and it took me 3 months to make it.
Wow.
At the time, and I was just like, there's got to be a better way to do it.
Yeah.
And then we hand delivered them to their central distribution point, which is in Northamptonshire. And then I was just like, God, what's next? And then people would just come in with orders, and so then we transferred our garage into a mini production unit that's attached to our kitchen.
Right.
And then the whole house became Appleified, and there was product everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I was like, once it started coming in the bedroom, I was like, we need to move out.
Cannot have preserve in the bedroom. That's number one.
No. So then we managed to find a artisan kitchen that could do bigger volumes, and then got to where we are today.
Oh.
So we launched into Ocado in September, and then used each stage as a stepping stone into the next one to prove that we can do it ourselves. So this is just myself and my fiance. That's it.
Still.
No one else, yes.
Wow.
Still.
And now you're in.
And now we've gone into 800 Tesco's, Asda in the Northwest, Ocado, and then EH Booths, which is based in the Northwest. It's like a smaller Waitrosey kind of place.
Okay.
So we've gone into them, but we still retained the accounts from before.
Right.
I think it's just because we're doing something a little bit different and trying to make it a bit more funky and quirky and show the product in its versatility.
We probably should explain a bit about the product actually.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of. I mean, what do you have? Give us some.
So in Tesco's we've launched the conserves.
Yeah.
So there's things like apple pie.
Yeah.
Which is like apple pie in
Which
a jar
wow.
without the crust.
Cunningly named apple pie. Yeah. Okay.
Well, everything's got a story.
Yeah.
But I used to live in the States, and they have something called apple butter.
Oh.
Which is amazing, but it's just stewed down apples with spices and cinnamon, and oh my God, it's amazing.
Really?
but it's no dairy in it. So I thought when I wanted to do something new, I was like, well, I could do that, but people might think it's like got butter in it.
Yeah,
and
like
it's just
I
not
did.
going to work. So then I came up with the name of apple pie, and then we do an apple and figgy diggy, which is my favourite, and everyone loves that one. I think because I like to give things like quite quirky names. So it's just like, so what you see is literally me coming up with all these like different things.
Do you think that's important then for sorry, briefly going off a point, because your brand is very much about yourself and your story and whatever.
Well,
do you think that's something?
I wanted to create something that wasn't faceless, that you could trust. That I've got a little girl, that I've got my family, and then I wanted it to be something like quite wholesome, but at the same time reflect the industry at the moment within my category is really staid. It's really boring, and ours is like really fresh and innovative, and that's why Tesco's took us on.
And that's what sets you apart then, does it? The fact that
bananas are the first fruit that everyone buys. It's the number one selling fruit in the whole of the UK, and apples are second.
Wow.
And when we pitched this to Tesco's, they were like, jam and apples? And we were like, yeah. And they were like, nice.
Is that how you did it? That's all you had to do. You just had to
not-
walk into
not-
Tesco and say jam and apples,
Yeah,
and they
jam
said,
and
"I like
apples,
your
bring it
style."
on.
Yeah, let's roll with it.
But I think you just have to be. Paul and I, as my fiance, we've learned a lot over the last 4 years with no experience, no background. I love food, and he was IT.
Yeah.
I managed to persuade him to give up his job and help me do this. But he's definitely the MD, and he calls me the social butterfly.